All right, thanks for joining us today on the Next Level Live. We got an exciting show as always. I'm going to get into some numbers real quick before we get into our training. Coming off of April week 3, as a company, we issued just over $7 million, which brings our April month-to-date total to a little over $30 million. And year-to-date, that's $132,686 and some change. So congratulations to everybody who went out this past week to help families. Our agent spotlight this week is Jonathan Pineda of FFL Elevated Financial. He's our agent spotlight. He's helped over 235 families so far this year. Our rising star, Thomas Ronda of FFL First Class, has helped over 200 families year to date. Congratulations, Thomas. And now we have some cruise updates. So we had double points, which just wrapped up this past week. We have a ton of new qualifiers. So I'm going to run through these real quick. Congratulations to everybody that's qualified in the past and this week. Here's our new qualifiers for April week 3. Alex V, Alejandro L, Alexander C, Erie N, James P, Ikhad U, David P, Storm R, Alex M, Tony K, Chris G, Miriam S, Ali K, Jonathan S, Quentin L, Logan M, Kevin A, Garrett F, Lauren H, Bashir S, Efrasa R, Adam E, Marisa M, Erica K, Nathaniel B, Austin P, Adrian A, Joshua L, David W, Alejandro C, Dominique R, Antrell C, Quentin K, Adrian S, Bailey J, Michael R, Nathan D, Mohammed S, Matt S, and William T. Congratulations to all of those that are now cruise qualified. Registration, you'll get an email real soon. Make sure to register as soon as possible. And congratulations again. Enjoy the cruise. Now, for our Hall of Fame, we have one new member to induct to our personal Hall of Fame this week, Randall Bahumi. I may have said that wrong. If I did, please let me know. From FFL Republic, a second-time Hall of Famer. Congratulations, Randall. From an agency standpoint, we had a handful. So Marco Conde, congratulations, Marco, third-time Agency Hall of Famer of FFL Prosper with Purpose. Nina Hill of FFL Limitless, fourth time. Congratulations, Nina. Mark Mead, seventh-time Hall of Famer, FFL Tri-State. Ivan Vedrov of FFL Universe, qualified for the fifth time. Congratulations, Ivan. Grady Polson of FFL America has hit Agency Hall of Fame 5 times. Tyler Adams, third-time qualifier from FFL Trident Life. And last but not least, Josh Williams of FFL Knockout is qualified for the third time. Congratulations to all the Agency Hall of Famers. Moving on to annuity. We had one annuity Hall of Famer qualified this past week. Dean Pavlik of FFL Shield qualified for the second time. Congratulations, Dean. Stay tuned for some amazing training from Austin Becker. Great interview we did a couple days ago. You're going to enjoy that. All right, welcome to the Next Level Live. Oh, man, Austin Becker with us today. How we doing, Austin?
Doing good. Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming up, bro. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do it anytime. We're talking about some sales stuff, and one of the big things about this company, Austin, ever since we started, Sean kind of had this mantra that you cannot train on sales unless you're actively in sales, doing well at sales, right? Like, so you guys, between you and your wife, Jessica, last year helped over 1,000 families?
Yeah, right. Yeah, just over 1,000.
Yeah. Do you know where you guys are at so far this year?
I think we're around 200.
Around 200 more, yeah.
200, between 200 and 300, I know, pending in underwriting. I think we'd surpass 300 pending.
And you're going for the #1 spot, I heard. Is that true?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Steve, are you telling me that I may not be handing the belt to Steve Giordano next year on stage?
We don't plan on you to hand it to him.
You plan on me handing it to you guys?
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
All right. Well,
may not look like it, but
dude, I'm down with it. I mean, I love Steve. I love you guys, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he knows. We told him.
He knows. All right.
Yeah.
So, Steve, if you're watching, you get some competition this year, which he loves. He loves competition.
Yeah, he needs it.
He does need it. That's true.
Need it.
Absolutely. But we're talking about today is some sales stuff. You had said on a podcast, if you've not checked out the True Talk with Austin, go check that out. But you were talking about sales a little bit on there, and you said that to you, sales is a transfer of belief.
Yeah.
Which I love the way you put it, because sales sometimes gets a bad rap.
Absolutely.
And what we do is very different than a lot of other, like you've done other sales. This is very different. We're selling a product that everybody needs. Everybody, whether you fill out a lead or not, you need this, because when you die, your family's going to need some money for something. We all may not need the same policy, some more or less than others, but you need this.
That's right.
Life insurance. Talk to me about, first of all, that concept, transferring belief. What does that mean?
And if you have to believe in whatever it is you're doing, selling, or whatever. Otherwise, you can't portray conviction in it, right? I don't want to convince anybody to do anything.
Sure.
I want to persuade them to do what they need to do and what they want to do.
Yeah.
And so, but the problem is a lot of sales, like if I try to sell something and I didn't believe in it, it makes it really, really hard for me to sell that product to somebody. I could talk about the bells and whistles and all that stuff, but that's not what the end user ever is buying. That's not it. It doesn't matter what the product is. So if I have something, it's way easier for me to believe in the product and just transfer that belief, because if I have it, I could speak authentically about my experiences with it.
Right.
And that alone is what's going to be, it's not even a sell at that point in time. It's like having a conversation with somebody and them being like, hey, what it's like when I go out to eat and I sit down at a restaurant, I'll ask the server, what is their favorite thing on the menu? Now, what is the best seller? If they immediately answer with the best seller, I was like, that's not what I want. I want to know what the best, what would you get?
Right.
And if they tell me what they would get, then they could explain to me why they would get it, because of these things. It doesn't mean I will like it.
Right.
But it gave me a reason to believe it.
Yeah.
If they believe it's good, then I have a reason to at least try it, because prior to that, it's all subjective. And that's the biggest issue when it comes to, for me, if I was to sell something I don't have, my explanation and stuff, to me, I would believe is subjective to the client, because they can't even listen or interpret it correctly, like authentically, because I don't have it. I don't believe in it enough to have it. So why would I sell it?
Yeah.
So that's my, I guess.
Was the first policy you sold to yourself, or did you try selling before actually believing in the product?
Oh, definitely try selling
You did?
it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Yeah, sell it before. Not everyone's going to try to say, I'm not going to say I didn't get sales.
Sure.
But it's a different conversation for sure.
A lot more challenging.
Yeah, because you don't even know what to say when the client asks, well, what do you do?
Right.
Like, because clients ask
They
that.
do. Absolutely.
Like, they're going to ask, well, how does it work? Like, what is your results? What do you do for your family? And then what do you do? Just most people either stumble or lie.
Right.
Right? And so the easiest way not to overcome that objection is to just get it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. Like, we know the answer.
Right.
Right.
Right. So. And I mean, you hear every excuse, right? Well, I don't have the money. Well, if you can't sell yourself on it, how the hell are you going to sell your client on it?
Facts.
Because the same objections you're having, they're going to have, right?
Every time.
I mean, how many times you hear a new age, you don't understand. I just have a lot of money right now. Once I make a few sales, then I'll get myself a policy.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
No. That's like saying, hey, once I make a few sales, then I'll get some leads.
Right.
Well, how are you going to make those sales?
Right.
Whether you buy, whether you generate, what you find, but until you have those leads, how are you going to make those sales? You're not.
That's right.
So until you have the product on yourself, what's going to make you good at pitching it to someone else?
That's right.
So number one for you is having the product.
Yep.
The product that you're selling, you should own.
Yep.
Now, obviously, if you're 23 years old, we're not saying go buy a final expense policy.
Right, but you can still sell it because it's still
life insurance.
Right, the product itself is still life insurance.
Exactly.
Right? Yours just has a different use case at your age.
Now, what's the key, Austin, in transferring that belief to your client? Whether it's virtual, in-home, IUL, mortgage, I mean, it's still that same concept, right?
Yeah.
You believe in this. I need to get you to believe in the same thing I believe in.
Because they already do. They already believe in it. The problem is you have to like awaken the belief. They already believe because everybody knows that they're dying.
And they wouldn't have filled out the form or the lead, however lead caps you're doing, they wouldn't take that step if they didn't believe in it.
And so to answer the question is you have to bring them back to their pain points. That's it. Pain point, solution, offer, PSO method. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone has a pain. We're all going to die. So we have the most inevitable pain. It's there.
Yeah.
And none of us, it doesn't matter finances or not. If you don't have the finances, well, guess what? Neither does your family. Exactly. So that you have to make it a priority. So transferring that belief is I don't want to say I'll say it's simple, right?
Yes, yep.
And it's because you just have to let them know and make them aware of the pains they have again.
Yeah.
And you're not selling the product.
Correct.
You're selling the solution. So all the bells and whistles, all the fancy stuff everyone tries to sell is the problem. And that's why if you don't have it, that's where it goes back. If you don't have it, all you're doing is selling bells and whistles.
Sure.
Because you're only selling what you read, interpreted, or studied.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, all these benefits are this amazing.
Right.
Your family, versus just having it.
It's like a used car salesman, right? This car has this. Do you own a car like that? No, I don't.
99% of the time, I drove an Escalade here, and guess what? I didn't use any bells and whistles. In fact, it was very annoying.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
But what do I like? Having a nice car on the outside. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. So
Absolutely.
understanding like what you're like when it comes to the life insurance. To me, it's like, hey, everyone's gonna die. Everyone wants to leave more money for the family. I don't care who you are. Like, kids want to leave more money for the parents.
Right.
Dude, parents want to leave more money for the kids. So
the first big thing's your belief in the product. You should own the product before you try to sell it. Second step is uncovering the pain. Right? The why, however you want to word it. Like I always looked at it as, we did a lot of direct mail back when I sold.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you picked up this mailer that came to your house, unmarked, looks like spam. You opened it up. You read it. You said, this looks good. You put all your personal information on it. Then you folded it back up. You put it in the return envelope, and it made it to the mail. So all those things happen. How many times do you think someone filled it out, left it on the table, never sent it back, just shredded it, set it aside, intended on filling it out? Like all these things happened.
yeah.
Then you called it, and now you have an appointment. So you mean to tell me they went through all that happened, and they don't have a need for this?
Exactly.
So now they may not scream about it, right? You're doing all virtual, right? Or is it telesales?
Virtual telesales, yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine that your clients aren't like the minute you get on, they're going, Austin, I need this because, my brother, like they're not just throwing it up. You have to uncover it.
That's right.
So for you specifically, how do you uncover that pain point?
It's easy. You don't talk. I don't talk. So first off, the first thing we will do when we get on the call is the client fill out a lead form.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of me creating this scenario and belief in their head or why we think they're there, because we're not focused on the sell, we know why they're there. Right. So what we need them to do is we need them to talk about why they're there.
Yeah.
So the first thing we do is we introduce ourselves. We tell them we're going to introduce. We don't even introduce ourselves. We see if they could hear us. And then we let them know, hey, the first thing we're going to do is just introduce ourselves. Austin, Jessica Becker. We saw you filled out this form. You inquired about this specific product. Let me just confirm some of the information I have here first, and then we'll just chat and see what brought you here. Sound good? And they're going to be like, yeah, sounds good. And got your name, Mike, date of birth, 9/20/1985 or something, right?
Yeah, you're right. Look at that.
You live in Colorado or Connecticut, right? Yep. And then you're going to be, yeah, that's me. Man, perfect. So you inquired about an IUL, cash value life insurance. Is this something new to you, something you've been looking at, something you've been thinking about for a while? Tell me some insights on that. Give me some insights on what you know about it and what your plans are and what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And boom, they're just going to tell you everything. Then you use everything they told you to
get to the next step,
to just keep reminding them why they're there. That's it.
And what are you looking for specifically? Because they're not just going to come out and go, Austin, my pain point is X. So you're asking that question. What are some things you're looking for? And then what are some additional questions you asked?
Yeah, because they're not going to say the word pain point.
Right.
You just listen. So this is where when people talk, you listen.
Right.
That's the difficult part. Like, ask my wife if I listen. Probably not.
No, it's like you're just listening to respond. Yeah.
Exactly. So understand, like actually listening, that way you don't come off as though you don't listen, because that's an issue with clients. They'll be like, man, like if you're going off of a script a lot of times, you end up not listening.
Right. And
then the client's like, man, I already answered this, or they get frustrated, right? So if you just focus on like letting them talk. So to answer your question, when they talk, they'll be like, well, like I want a better retirement plan. I haven't saved. I have 2 kids. And then if some stuff doesn't come up, like they don't always say that they're married and have kids. The moment they respond with, well, this is new to me. I haven't really looked at anything. I seen something pop up. It looked interesting, because that didn't give me any answers, right? Well, then I'd be like, okay, well, real quick, do you do anything for retirement? They'll say yes or no, obviously, because it's a yes or no question. They say yes. You ask what? They say no, and then you ask, did they used to? And then they would tell you if they had anything old, this would lead to annuities. And then you find out if they're married and have kids. And then if, let's say, worst case scenario, it's all like, man, nothing on everything.
Yeah.
Then you just, if you own a product and they kind of relate to you, because that's usually how clients do.
Right.
Well, then you just do what you would then offer the product that makes the most sense. That's when you would just solve the problem that they have that they're just not talking about. Like they're going to die and they don't want to not have anything. And if they don't have kids or family, guess what they need? They need an IUL. Then you just have to kind of do your own professional due diligence to find out where they're at.
Right.
But most of the time, they're going to tell you.
Yeah. And that's key. What you said is actually listening, because a lot of, especially like you said with a script, you're just waiting to read the next part of your script, right? Like, so they're talking and it's not like you're just blanking, like, yeah. So anyways, here's what, and they just told you why they needed it.
Exactly.
Like to your point, they say, well, I used to do something for retirement. Okay, well, why'd you stop? Odds are they stopped because it wasn't going well, right? They didn't stop because it was the best retirement ever, and you're like, I'm just put a pause on that.
That's right. They left their job, finances, something happened, they didn't like it, right? Yep. There's a lot of variables there, and you got to find out.
Right.
But that's not in your script most of the time.
Exactly. So you're listening for these things, and you're trying to find the next thing to ask questions about.
That's it.
The person who asks the most questions wins.
The person that talks the least wins.
That too.
So you got to, if they answer everything in one question, then you move on to the presentation. Mm-hmm. So you don't answer enough questions for you to be able to persuade your client to purchase. That's it.
Yeah. Because, you can get into a social hour, and it's easy to tell your friends no.
Right.
That was the day. I think, and I don't know, I've never sold virtually. I've only sold in the home. One of the dangers about selling in the home is it's easy to get caught up in there for, 2-3 hours, and now you made a friend, and they may feed you, they may show you baby pictures, all kinds of shit, but they're not going to buy a policy from you because you made a friend.
You made a friend. And then friends don't buy from us a lot of times.
Exactly.
And so I tell everybody, you got to be the professional because they're coming to you for the advice, right? They're like, and this is something we don't do. To speak on what we do, we already know 99% of the time what our clients are going to get because we already picked the product, right? As opposed to coming on and presenting options. Because if I give them options, they had options the whole life and they never made a decision.
Absolutely.
And that is, I'd say, one of our biggest strengths is being like, well, this is what's best for you. Mm. And leaving it at that. While other products can also be good for them, that's fine.
Right.
Doing something's better than doing nothing.
Yeah. But if you've listened to them properly,
then you could craft it without presenting them. So, like, we never do the 3-pitch close. Like, hey, here's a bunch of different prices. What makes the most sense? We ask what makes the most sense before we give a price.
Right.
And then we stick to whatever they said.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe try to move up if it makes sense for the family or the product.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not like, well, here's all these scenarios.
Right. Yeah. No, that's key. I mean, they wouldn't have filled out the form or lead, however your caption is in the first place if there wasn't a need.
That's right.
Right. And it's just bringing them back to that by asking the right questions.
That's right.
So now, and I mean, you've been doing this for over a year now.
Yeah.
Once you've run enough appointments, you realize that there's really a few different scenarios. It's not like there's, 800 different, like, the pain points are the pain points.
That's it.
There's probably like 3 or 4, right? Like, I mean, I doubt there's like, there's 24 different. No.
Same stuff. Everything's the same.
What are the most common pain points that you uncover?
Pain point is going to be not planning sooner, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not, especially with IULs, because a lot of our clients are using them as a supplemental retirement stream.
Yeah.
And doing so, they're like, hey, man, I don't have anything. I didn't plan. I bounced around jobs. None of my accounts work, right? A lot of stuff has been stagnant. And there are a lot of people, the problem with a lot of retirement accounts is the loss of control. Whereas an IUL is not a retirement account, but you don't lose control of your funds. So you can still utilize them to go do things that you want to do in life. And so the biggest pain point I say we have is just clients, they didn't do it sooner. They didn't properly set up. And then a lot of them also don't have life insurance.
Right.
Like, they're not prepared for where they're headed in life.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty constant. That's it.
Right. And I think the same goes with any type of, like, if you're doing mortgage, if you're doing final, there's a few different scenarios you're going to run into. And, you know, on the IUL side, they're filling out an IUL lead. Obviously, it talks about retirement. So you should already expect that they don't have their retirement figured out.
That's right.
The guy who has it all figured out is not filling out the form and meeting with you.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy who has the best retirement, he's got this IRA, he's got this 4, he's got all these investments, he's doing well. He's not then filling it out and going, hey, man, how can you help my retirement?
That's it. Facts. Most of our clients, they have not been exposed to financial literacy.
Right.
Like, they don't even understand renting out houses. They don't understand finance.
Yep.
They don't understand. They don't even know what the S&P 500 is, right? And it's not to say that. So that's the pain point that we're trying to solve. We're trying to make financial literacy more available to our clients. So we're like, dude, there are other options out there than, and life insurance isn't just one size fits all. Because then it's like, hey, well, cash value life insurance is not the same as term life insurance, right? So our clients, they're like, man, well, I had a term policy. Can it do these things? No, you have to get one of these, right? So it really, it's just the pain is just uneducation.
And know your clients in anything you're selling.
If
you don't know your client, how the hell am I going to sell you if I don't know who you are?
Right, and that's why we stress the importance of understanding your product, because if you understand your product, you can identify your client by picking the piece of putting them together. A lot of people are just getting clients or getting leads, but they don't even know what product to sell them because they don't understand the client.
Sure.
So
at the end of the day, I think it all boils back down to mindset, right? If you're approaching this with the right mindset, like if your mindset is, you know, I really hope that this client needs life insurance, or I'm not. Dude, your mindset should be everyone filling, whether even it's mortgage protection. They're filling it out because they don't have mortgage protection.
That's it.
Their mortgage is not protected right now. Final expense. They're filling out because they don't have their final expenses taken care of.
Every time.
So I met with them and they had a policy. They had that policy when they filled out the form.
Yeah.
And they still filled it out. They still applied online. They still, whatever it was, they still did that with what they had in place. So that means they need something in addition to.
That's right.
You're never going to convince me that someone who was all set filled out a form
because they were bored. No, and that's the big thing, dude. Mindset, because people will be like you said, mindset, bad leads, like the client doesn't need it. Like, no, literally every single person that's in front of you,
right?
If they're in front of you and they filled out a form and got in front of you, they're there for help.
Yeah,
right. They need something.
Yep.
And so just having a proper mindset, as opposed to like you just said, hey, like, hope I get the sell, right? Like, just go in there knowing that you're going to help the client,
right?
Regardless if you get off the phone or not, you're helping the client.
Yeah.
And so, like, we get on the phone and clients don't purchase right away, but I educated the client, right? And that was going back to biggest problem is they're uneducated.
Sure.
Now they're educated. Now guess what? When we reach out in a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months or 5 months, the client's more likely to move forward if they didn't at that time. Hopefully we can help them right away. Yeah. But there's times when you can't.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to. And I'm not saying you're going to help everyone. Right. I'm just saying everyone you talk to needs it.
Right.
There's two big reasons why I believe a client doesn't buy. One, they didn't like or trust you.
Facts.
Number two, you didn't make it affordable.
Yep.
And both of those come from what you talked about, listening to your client.
That's it.
Because unless you're just like someone who's just a bad person committing fraud, like if you're doing the right thing by clients, you should be able to get your clients to trust you.
Yep, 100%.
But if you're not listening to them, if you're not connecting with them, if you're not finding common ground, if it's just me preaching to you, if it's just me shoving this product down your throat, you're not going to trust me. We're not going to connect.
That's right.
And then to your point, making it affordable, you do by listening.
That's it.
I mean, there's a financial inventory you can do and find out all of their finances, and you can find the budget for the policy.
Our best question is just asking them, how much can you afford?
Yeah.
We don't even have to find out what they can afford. We will ask them, how much can you comfortably save per month?
Yeah.
Now, that will never be an objection ever.
No.
The finance can never be an objection.
Right.
If you let them answer it.
Because if you ask me that and I go, I just throw $250. Cool.
Yeah.
So when you go, hey, it'll be $250, and I go, that's too much.
Right.
Wait a minute, are you like schizophrenic? Like, did you like
every single time? And so, like, most of the time, and they'll think about it, they'll even stumble. They'll be like, well, I don't know, I didn't think about it. I'm like, well, let's think about it. Like, so, like, are you contributing to other accounts? What are you saving now? Do you save? Like, no. Like, and so there's that fine line. But dude, once they answer that question, you got them hooked for that at least, right? And then if it becomes too expensive, just lower the cost.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I'm like. I never understood that one because you control the price.
Right. That's why that's not the problem. It's the trust.
Exactly.
And so this is where I guess I can't speak on experience. Telesales, I would assume, is probably harder than video sales, because when we're on a camera, immediately gains trust.
Yeah.
Hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, being on camera, because we even get clients that say that.
Right.
They're like, I didn't expect you to be on camera. We thought your camera was going to be off.
Yeah.
No, the camera's on.
Absolutely.
You're going to see, it's like we're sitting in the same room.
Right.
Does it take more work than sitting down on a 15-minute phone call? Yes.
Sure.
But I'm willing to fight that battle than dial the phone. That's our
a lot of times, the more work you put in on the front end helps you on the back end.
That's right.
Right? Because you can get the sale, but is it going to stick?
Right.
Is it gonna hit that 13-month? Is it even gonna hit a 13-month so it can be counted towards persistency?
Right.
Like if I get you to buy something but you cancel it 2 weeks later, well, I didn't do my job. Because number one, you're not covered now, and the odds that you're gonna meet with somebody else after meeting with someone, getting a policy and canceling, those odds go way down.
Yep.
And then from a financial standpoint, I didn't write the policy, I didn't get issue paid, I didn't make any money.
That's right.
So all of this is bad, right? You got no insurance, I didn't get paid, and I did it the wrong way.
Yep.
But as opposed to me spending a little extra time, me making sure that we connect, me making sure that I'm really filling that void, I'm finding that pain point.
That's right.
And providing a solution as opposed to just a sale. And I think it goes back to mindset. You look at this, like you said to me when we first met today, you talked about, we met before, but when we first really met, you talked about you do this to help people. And at the end of the day, if you're doing it for that reason, I think the rest of this stuff will work itself out. Absolutely.
Life is relationships.
Yep.
Once you focus on that and you don't become so focused on yourself,
correct,
it can be impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, dude, for coming in. Appreciate you taking time out to do this. I really do. And, talking about helping people, you're helping a bunch of people right now with this mindset, this idea, this thought process of transferring belief. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking us out. Hit the subscribe button, like this, share this with your agents, and you know where to find us every week right here on the Next Level Live every Friday. We'll see you next week. All right, well, thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the training from Austin. You know where to find us every single week for the Next Level Live, and stay tuned next Tuesday, 3 p.m. podcast True Talk with Austin Jones. You don't want to miss that. We'll see you next week.